How y'all doing? Thanks for stopping by and tuning in as always. So now we're getting into military aircraft outside of all the civil aircraft that I've covered thus far. Let's now look at the Aero L-29 Delfin, Delfin. The Aero L-29 Dolphin in English, NATO reporting name Maya, M-A-Y-A, instead of M-Y-A like singer. Is a military jet trainer developed and manufactured by Czechoslovakian aviation manufacturer Aero Vodochody, Vodochody. It is the country's first locally designed and constructed jet aircraft, as well as likely being the biggest aircraft industrial program to take place in any of the Council for Mutual Economic Assistance (COMCON) countries except Soviet Union. L-29 Dolphin. I was going to say Dolphin, but Aero L-29 Dolphin, role, military trainer aircraft, light attack. Manufacturer, Aero Vodochody. Designer, Ing, K. Tom. First flight, April 5th, 1959. Introduction, 1961. Status limited. Serves popular civilian warbird. Primary users, Soviet Air Force. Military jet trainer. Development manufacturer. Soviet Air Force historical, Czechoslovakian Air Force historical, Bulgarian Air Force historical, Egyptian Air Force historical. Produced in 1963 and 1974. Numbered, built 3,665 of them. In response to a sizable requirement for a common jet-propelled trainer to be adopted across the diverse nations of the Eastern Bloc, Aero decided to embark upon their own design project with a view to suitably satisfying this demand. On April 5th, 1959, an initial prototype designated as the XL-29 performed its maiden flight. The L-29 was selected to become the standard trainer for the air forces of Warsaw Pact nations, for which it was delivered from the 1960s onwards. During the early 1970s, the type was succeeded in the principal trainer role by another Aero-built aircraft, the L-39 Albatros, heavily contributing to a decline in demand for the earlier L-29 and the end of its production during 1974. During the course of the program, in excess of 3,000 L-29 Dolphin trainers were produced. Of these, around 2,000 were reported to have been delivered to the Soviet Union, where it was used as the standard trainer for the Soviet Air Force. Of the others, which included both armed and unarmed models, many aircraft were delivered to the various COMCON countries, while others were exported to various overseas nations, including Egypt, Syria, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Uganda. Reportedly, the L-29 has been used in active combat during several instances, perhaps the most high-profile being the use of Nigerian aircraft during the Nigerian Civil War of the late 1960s, and of Egyptian L-29s against Israel tanks during the brief Yom Kippur War of 1973. Development: Aero L-29 at Kaunas Airport, a private L-29 Dolphin at the 2006 Miramar Air Show. In the late 1950s, the Soviet Air Force commenced a search for a suitable jet-powered replacement for its fleet of piston engine trainers. Over time, this requirement was progressively broadened towards the goal of developing a trainer aircraft that could be adopted and in widespread use throughout the national air forces of the Eastern Bloc countries. Around the same time, the nation of Czechoslovakia had also been independently developing its own requirements for a suitable jet successor to its current propeller-powered trainer aircraft. In response to these demands, Aero decided to develop its own aircraft design. The effort was headed by a pair of aerospace engineers, Z. Rublik and K. Thomas. Their work was centered upon the desire to produce a single design that would be suitable both performing basic and advanced levels of the training regime, carrying pilots straight through to being prepared to operate frontline combat aircraft. The basic design concept was to produce a straightforward, easy to build and operate aircraft. Accordingly, both simplicity and ruggedness were stressed in the development process, leading to the adoption of manual flight controls, large flaps, and the incorporation of perforated air brakes positioned on the fuselage sides. Aerodynamically, the L-29 was intentionally designed to possess stable and docile flight characteristics. This decision contributed to an inviolable safety record for the type. The sturdy L-29 was able to operate under austere conditions, including performing takeoffs from grass, sand, or unprepared fields. On April 5, 1959, the prototype XL-29 conducted its maiden flight powered by a British Bristol Siddeley Viper turbojet engine. The second prototype, which flew shortly thereafter, was instead powered by the Czech design M701 engine. The M701 engine was used in all subsequent aircraft. During 1961, a small pre-production batch of L-29s were evaluated against the Polish PZL TS-11 Iskra and the Russian Yakovlev Yakovlev Yak 30. The main rival submissions for the Warsaw Pact's standardized trainer. Excuse me. Shortly after the completion of the flyoffs, it was announced that the L-29 had been selected as the winner. According to aviation author John C. Fredrickson, this outcome had been highly unexpected and surprising to several observers. Regardless of the result, Poland chose to continue to pursue the development and procurement of the TS-11. However, all of the other Warsaw Pact countries decided to adopt the Delfin under the agreements of COMCOM. During April 1963, full-scale production of the L-29 commenced. 3,600 aircraft were manufactured over a production run of 11 years. During its production life, several derivatives DERVATIVES of the L-29 were developed, such as a dedicated single-seat aerobatic version, which was designated as the L-29A Acrobat. Another model, an armed Reconnaissance RECONNAISSANCE version, complete with multiple downwards looking cameras installed in the rear cockpit version, referred to as the L-29R, which also under development. However, during 1965, the L-29R project was terminated. Optional armaments, ARMAMENTS, could be installed upon some models, consisting of either a detachable gun pod or a pod containing up to 4 unguided missiles, which could be set upon hard points underneath between missiles or missiles. Design. Let's see. The Aero L-29 Delfin was a jet-powered trainer aircraft known for a straightforward and simplistic design and construction. In terms of its basic configuration, it used a mid-wing matched with a T-tail arrangement. The wings were swept and accommodated air intakes for the engines within the wing roots. The undercarriage was reinforced and capable of withstanding considerable stresses. According to Fredrickson, the L-29 was relatively underpowered yet exhibited several favorable characteristics in its flight performance, such as its ease of handling. The primary flying controls are manually operated. Both the flaps and air brakes were actuated via hydraulic systems. Production aircraft were powered by the Czech design motor-led M701 turbojet engine, which was capable of generating up to 1,960 pounds of thrust, or lb-f of thrust, between 1961 and 1968. Approximately 9,250 engines were completed. According to reports, no fewer than 5,000 of these engines were manufactured in support of the Delfin program. The student pilot and their instructor were placed in a tandem seating layout underneath separate canopies, the instructor being placed in a slightly elevated position to better oversee the student. Both the student and instructor were provisioned with ejection seats. These were intentionally interlinked to fire in a synchronized manner if either seat was deployed, as to eliminate any possibility of a mid-air collision between the two ejector seats. During their late life, many L-29s were resold onto private operators that have seen use in the civil sector. It has become common for various modifications to be carried out to convert the type for such use. These changes would commonly include the removal of military-oriented equipment such as the gun sight, the replacement of the metric altimeters with Western counterparts, the addition of alternative radio systems, and new ejection seats. It was also routine for several subsystems such as the oxygen system to be disabled rather than removed. Operational history. Oh my gosh. L-29 Delfin ZK-SSU. In excess of 2,000 L-29 Delfins were ultimately supplied to the Soviet Air Force, and like the majority of Soviet-operated aircraft, it acquired its own NATO reporting name, Maya. In the trainer role, the L-29 enabled air forces to adopt an all-through training regime using only jet-powered aircraft, entirely replacing earlier piston engine types. The Delfin served in basic, intermediate, and weapons training roles. For this latter mission, they were equipped with hardpoints to carry gun pods, bombs, or rockets. According to Fredrickson, the L-29 functioned as a relatively good ground attack aircraft when deployed as such. It saw several uses in this active combat role, such as when a number of Egyptian L-29s were dispatched on attack missions against Israel ground forces during the Yom Kippur War of 1973. The type was also used in anger during the Nigerian Civil War of the late 1960s. On July 16, 1975, a Czechoslovak Air Force L-29 reportedly shot down a Polish civilian biplane piloted by DION IZY-9 Bilogowski, who had been attempting to defect to the west. The L-29 was supplanted in the inventory of many of its operators by the Aero L-39 Albatros. The L-29, which was commonly used alongside the newer L-39 for a time. The type was used essentially to conduct ground attack missions in the first Nagorno-Karabakh war by Azeri forces. At least 14 were shot down by Armenian air defenses out of the total inventories of 18 L-29s. The Missouri Air Force lost large amounts of its Air Force due to anti-aircraft fire. On October 2nd, 2007, an unmodified L-29 was used for the world's first jet flight powered solely by 100% biodiesel fuel. Pilots Carol Sugars and Douglas Rodante, Rodente, flew their Delfin jet from Stead Airport, Reno, Nevada, to Leesburg International Airport, Leesburg, Florida, in order to promote environmentally friendly fuels in aviation. The L-29, much like its L-39 successor, has found use in air racing, some of which have been re-engined with the British Armstrong Siddeley Siddley Viper turbojet engine. From September 10th to September 14th, 2008, a pair of L-29s took first and second place at the Reno Air Races. Both L-29s consistently posted laps at or above 500 miles per hour. Former astronaut Kurt Brown took first place in Viper, followed by Red Bull racer Mike Mango in Aero. Russia has claimed that it destroyed a pair of Georgian L-29s during the 2008 South Ossetia War, OSSETIA. On January 18, 2015, separatist forces in the war in Donbass claimed that they possessed an operational L-29. Operators, current military operators: Georgian Air Force Aero L-29, Private Aero L-29C, Delfin ES XLP, working on Delfin motor-let M701 turbojet engine. Okay, Angola, Georgia, overseas. Former military operators: Afghanistan, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Czech Air Force, People's Republic of China, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Egypt, Ghana, Guinea, Hungary, Indonesia, Iraq, Libya, Mali, Nigeria, Romania, Slovakia, Syria, Uganda, Ukraine. Many blessings to Ukraine, by the way. Vietnam, in the U.S., United States, and in the Soviet Union. BOSAAF, Soviet Air Force. Civilian operators. An L-29 owned by the University of Iowa College of Engineering, used for research and testing. Argentina, Australia, Czech Republic, Canada, Denmark, New Zealand, Norway, Russia, Slovakia, South Africa, United Kingdom, and the United States. One L-29 N-29 November 29er Charlie Zulu was operated by World Heritage Air Museum in Detroit, Michigan. Wow. One as an avionics high dynamics flight test aircraft at the Ohio University Avionics Engineering Center. One L-29 Charlie November 61300 was operated by DK Aviation Services in Dallas, Texas. Wow. Accidents: only one. So on August 18, 2000, a privately owned L-29 was destroyed after it impacted with the water during an aerobatic display at the Eastbourne Airborne Air Show at Eastbourne, East Sussex, England. The pilot, a former member of the Royal Air Force's RAF Red Arrow display team, was killed with no visible signs of attempting to eject from the aircraft. Specifications on the L-29: crew general characteristics: crew 2, length 10.81 meters, wingspan 10.29 meters, height 3.13 meters, wing area 19.80 meters a second, aspect ratio 5:36:1, airfoil NACA 632A217 at roots, NACA C642A212 at tip, empty weight 2,280 kilograms, mass takeoff weight 3,280 kilograms. fuel capacity 962 liters, provision for 250 liters, external tanks, power plant 1 motorlet, and 701C 500 turbojet. Performance, maximum speed 655 kilometers at 5,000 meters. Stall speed 130 kilometers, flaps down, never exceed speed 820 kilometers an hour on all of these. And range 894 kilometers with external tanks. Endurance 2 hours and 30 minutes. Service ceiling 11,000 meters. Rate of climb 1,400 meters a second. Armament, ARMAMENT, guns, 2 of them 6.62 millimeters machine gun pods on hard points, 2 hard points. Rockets 8 air to ground it's 8 air to ground rockets. Bombs 200 kilogram bombs is 220 pounds. See also related development: Aero L-39 Albatros, Aero L-59 Super Albatros aircraft of comparable role configuration in Aero. Aero Machi MB-326 Fugel Magister PZLTS-11 Iskra Soko G2 MS-760. Let's see references, bibliography, and external links. Okay. Okay. And give me a minute. Oops. All right. Let's see if I can get a price on this. By any chance? Click on it here. Says as far as the 6829 Delta Aero L-29 Delfin on aircraft.com. $45,000 for sale. How much? Okay, that's the L-29. That's what I have on here. So, there you have it, folks. Review on the Aero L-29 Delfin, aka Delfin in English, military trainer jet or jet trainer, developed by Czechoslovakian aviation manufacturer Aero. Vladichody. From my channel to your channel. Salute. Gulfstream Entertainment, Michael Carter Studios and Production. Oh yeah, if you enjoy my channel and video, check out these channels and videos.